Josh, check this out. So I've been thinking, we have so many ideas on the Viral Ideas podcast. I think we have like more than over 50 ideas out there now on the internet. But we actually need a validated system to actually help people validate these ideas so that they're not just random ideas from two guys from the internet, even though we're both in the industry within advertising and video productions world. And I have award-winning experiences in the most creative advertising agencies in Toronto for over 7 years. And I am an award-winning creative. And you yourself have been operating this video productions agency for over 5 years now?
Yeah, I think I just crossed over the 5-year mark on that. Yeah, this is something I'm really excited for because with your art director background, you've worked at all these crazy agencies. Now you have your own. There's going to be so much sauce that is just going to help people so much because when we first started doing this podcast, I wasn't not nearly as good at coming up with ideas, validating them, and figuring out which ones should actually be executed on. That's something that I had absolutely no framework for. Looking back to that point, now I feel like I can do it. I can do all of that stuff 10 times faster now. This is a really exciting episode because if the viewers get anything close to the amount of value that I've learned from you and your frameworks for generating ideas, then this is going to be a game-changing episode.
If you're just like a creative person that usually have just like streams of ideas pouring out, like it's actually not that difficult for you to come up with like 10 ideas in like, let's say 15 minutes or like even an hour. But what's actually holding you back is a systematic approach for you to approach those ideas in a filtered way to figure out which ideas are actually important and actionable. This might actually work for you as a toolkit. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to our audience the Vibe Check. The Vibe Check is a system we ourselves, as the Viral Ideas podcast, have created to take an idea from brainstorm over to the validation portion of our process. So what the Vibe Check is essentially how we will frame a viral idea as being a very validated viral idea.
This is how we get ideas out of our notes list and onto the actual podcast. This is a way that you as a viewer could also use this to go and start a business, or you could use this to present ideas to clients in your agency. This is where Runda and I are coming from as a main background, and this is so useful for us. Make sure you listen close to Runda while you watch this.
Yeah, the Vibe Check is essentially 7 years of creative agency experience and 5 years of video production experience distilled down to an acronym that can help you to actually bring an idea to life. So what the Vibe Check is a 5-letter acronym for us to create these pillars of elements in order for you to filter out an idea, whether if they have these elements or not. So really quick, V stands for viral. And in the viral pillar, we're just trying to figure out whether if an idea is the potential to generate buzz or like spread widely. Maybe it's already a viral element as a content or a viral trend that people are doing. If I listen to this idea, if I listen to SpongeBob rave, for example, does it feel viral? Think for yourself whether if the idea naturally encourages sharing. Do I want to tell Josh about this idea, for example?
Could you elaborate on that a little more for our viewers? Like the viral is that can be a very subjective term because it's based on subjective preferences. Everybody's got their own viral. You know, really like what this is, I think it is about how does it grab attention, but like, is there some way that maybe you've been able to quantify this?
If we take the SpongeBob rave, for example, how we can try to validate whether if an idea is viral or not, it could be two ways. The first way is whether if there has been a similar idea that's been done in either a market or a trend online that's been happening. And then, so I think for that episode, we started off from these raves being taken place in these coffee shops. So that naturally became a trending thing in West Europe areas, like in Amsterdam. It was a huge thing for these Europeans to essentially go to raves that are non-alcoholic venues going into a bakery to essentially do a rave in the middle of the day. I think seeing that validates the idea of, okay, uncommon rave locations is a viral trend entirely. That's already been validated in another market. So that's the first approach. You can think about whether if an idea has viral potential. The second approach could be using interesting trends or social listening. For example, it could be Severance from Apple TV recently just ended, and then they had their recent season finale. And then there's been a bunch of TikToks that's been talking about the Severance, whether it's about the show or certain cinematography techniques that the show employs, or like the eye zoom, the face zoom.
Everybody's hungry for more because the show is over. I see what you're saying here. So I'm glad you mentioned social listening, because that's something that we actually employ a lot at 10-4, especially with clients that we work with on a regular basis. We are just naturally doing this and we didn't even realize it. I think my process that I use, like most commonly, is I'll create a phantom account. I'll go on Instagram. I will tailor my own engagement to the audience that I am trying to get listening, basically. So, for example, on the 10-4 Pictures Instagram, I'd use that as a phantom account to look at what other production companies are doing with their content. So I scroll through that. That's what I see. And the way that we actually determine like what makes something like an actual like viral idea that I would be like, okay, I want to send this to my partners. I want to write this one down because I think that there's something here that could be viral about this. And I'm not saying like a 2x outlier. I'm saying like 10x outlier, something that absolutely stands out for this account. I'm looking for accounts that have maybe less than 20,000 followers, but they just posted a video that got 500,000 million views. That right there, that's what indicates to me that there's a format here. I will go to the client with confidence and tell them, guys, this is the direction we've got to be going in, because like, look, like the writing is on the wall. Like it could not be more clear. Like this person has no followers, but they just got a crazy amount of views. How did they do that? The content was good. It's very simple.
A lot of times in advertising or the agency world, we see a lot of cases where it's just an interesting story that we know innately to tell, but there hasn't been a lot of eyeballs in this niche community. For example, there's this one story for a client that has a pickle company. So this entire brand makes pickles. And we randomly stumbled upon this Reddit post that essentially is like a gym bros community that are drinking pickle juice as a pre-workout instead of using creatine. Then we actually looked further into what are the natural makeup in pickle juice or in the brine that's actually helping these gym bros. And apparently there's a little bit of research-backed evidence to show that there's actually a lot of electrolytes in these pickle brine that can help to work out and actually get those gains. So that initially is a viral story. We know that like if we just like have the right channel to get it out there, even though it's like kind of known in these niche community, if we just like, put it in front of an article to be written about through like a proper press strategy, it can become viral because it's just such a shareable story.
That's going back to the original roots of the internet. You know, like that's like, this is where virality came from, stuff like that. Like the format strategy, social listening, and the writing down lots of ideas. Those are great methods that will consistently get you results. But this is the fun one. I mean, there is an opportunity for that. And I think that's the one. Maybe it's harder to look out for, but there are tools that will help you do this, especially with looking on Reddit and finding a community of people who are into that, searching on Reddit and like just look for people talking about that. But there are also many tools. Like I'll just plug Gummy Search. I've plugged it before, but like you can literally go on there and it will give you access to aggregated information about like 60% of the people on r/fitness are drinking pickle juice as pre-workout. That's what might take you to like the next level if you're looking to like make a really informed decision based off of Reddit.
I think that's enough for me to understand at least what viral means in this vibe check model. But if you, the viewer or the listener, still don't really understand, maybe drop a comment and ask us more questions. Comment, like, and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, no, actually, leave us a comment if you want us to make this into something more, because I'm just realizing as we're making this that we could really build this thing out. We could go more in depth. So if y'all want that, we can deliver it, and we will use this episode as a resource to get started on that. Let us know. We're actually listening to you if you hit us up.
Yeah, we'll give it out to the Viral Ideas Inside Circle. So I stands for intuitive in the vibe check model. And it really tries to ask you whether if the idea is clear and easy to understand at first glance in the first place. If I hear SpongeBob rave, I'm going to immediately understand that the idea is about mishmashing SpongeBob and raves together. And it's going to be a great time. It might not necessarily be at like a typical rave location, but just putting SpongeBob and rave together. It's very clear and easy to understand, and I get it at first glance. If Josh were to listen to the idea from me, it should be simple enough that anyone can quickly grasp its value and meaning.
Like one sentence. Like not, I mean, you're you good example with the SpongeBob rave, because that's like 2 words. Like most ideas that we've used on the pod, they might be hard to put into 2 words, but those are basically the best ones. If your entire viral idea is just hinging on 2 words unexpectedly being combined, that really might be all that you need. Less is always more, because people don't read, they glance.
Sometimes sophistication is actually in the simplicity of things. When you put 2 words together and it becomes an idea, it should more often than not solicit like, geez, why didn't I think of that? I should feel so dumbfounded that if I listen to that idea, it makes me feel like, I could have thought about that, but it's just right there. And then this guy took it away from me because like he connected the 2 words together.
Yeah, it's true. The idea should literally frustrate people that they didn't think about it.
Yeah, it's my mad indicator.
Like people should literally be jealous. 100%.
All right, now we're on to Buildable. Essentially, is can you become Bob the Builder and actually build it? If you listen to this idea or like try to evaluate this idea that's in a lens where it's feasible and can you actually pull it off with all the puzzle pieces or elements that you have. Sometimes it can apply a lot for a bootstrap startup, but in the context of like content or marketing, it's really about like, can you create this thing based on the budget that you have? Are you being realistic with the resources available for you to produce the content?
Yeah, it's not just the budget. Like I feel like it's like about you as a person, like individually. Can you do this? That'll be a different answer for everyone.
Anyone can make a 40 feet gold sculpture of Trump, Donald J. Trump, but do I have the budget to pull that off? I might have like $5 budget, and then the rest might need to be a lot of favors pulled, and maybe I might call up Donald J. Trump himself, pull some favors to figure out whether if they have the gold resources that I need in order to build a statue. These conversations can become steps along the way, but if you don't have experience in building gold statues, good luck. The idea is really just an idea.
You better know somebody who knows how to do it or something. You even if you don't know someone to do it, like it's also worth remembering like you can consult anyone on anything. You just have to like find the right person.
Maybe you know a video producer that's has their own video production agency, and his name is Josh and is very resourceful. Maybe you should call him.
It's so true. It's like, hey, I want to make a crazy video where we drop a bouncy castle from outer space and land it in the ocean. Honestly, yeah, I'm the person to talk to about that. I'm the feasibility guy. I can figure that out. That's what I've been doing for the last 5 years. Call me.
Sometimes you just need the right person to ask you, hey, do you actually even need the statue to be built in gold?
Yes.
What is the reason why we even have a statue in the first place? Are we just gonna leave it there forever? Or can we just like make it seem like gold? Or maybe it's a 3D rendering that we put in place in post-production so that it seems like the golden Donald Trump is actually there when it's really just a 3D artist that's making it all happen in the background.
This is why getting expert opinions is a literal cheat code to life. And even if you're thinking like, I don't have the budget for consultants, hire one for 1 or 2 hours. Just offer somebody to take them for a lunch and ask them really nicely and just talk to them for 1 hour. And you wouldn't believe how far that would go. So yeah, I think we all believe that almost everything is actually buildable. Most things are, unless if you're coming up with something that's like literally stupid. Ideas that I consider to be stupid are ones that require something else to happen that like you can't guarantee. Where it's like, my idea will work if Google partners with me. I want to build a really complicated app, or I want to start a video series, or I want to physically start up a brick and mortar business. That's really like much more feasible than ideas that are created without the buildability in mind. You just have to be thinking in the back of your head the entire mind around every single corner. Is this actually possible? Because that's all that matters. Like things like budgets and expertise and all of that, that generally can be solved. Like you just have to try harder for things like that. So it's really just like, is it possible? It would, I think I would almost switch this to P for possible rather than B. But then I guess Vipe wouldn't really have the same effect. So I think we'll stick with buildable. But you're listening to this, you know what I mean. It just has to be possible. It's very simple.
And that leaves us with the last pillar on our vibe check, which is E, effective. Effective indicator is really the idea achieve its intended goals. Okay, you did all these things and you're looking back, whether if it's like website traffic or view counts, or whether if you actually made profit or not, whether if it's driving conversions or inspiring action in other people that are viewing your content, if that's creating a lasting impact, whether if that idea did intend to achieve its goals that it originally intended to achieve. So in the case of, I'm just hammering back into SpongeBob Rave.
We'll set that up.
So the whole idea with SpongeBob Rave is really about generate a large amount of local organic press to write about us, and also to eventually turn around a profit so that it can become a replicatable formula for other people to license their own SpongeBob raves, or any type of unconventional rave locations paired along with unconventional narratives. So the effective indicator for that piece of idea is really just about the number of impressions in organic press, whether we got enough blog articles or local publications to talk about us, or gotten any form of kind of social content traction that's talking about us. Plus, in the end of the day, once we actually do execute that SpongeBob rave, whether if we turn around a profit that's scalable enough to become a fully fleshed out business. All right, that was part 1 of the vibe check. Tune in next week for part 2, where we'll run through an idea we had from past episodes to filter down these pillars. Subscribe and get notified right when part 2 drops. Thanks for listening.